Welcome to today's video. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make some earrings using Lightburn's print and cut feature. So I'm going to go ahead and use my UV printer along with my Omtech laser. So first things first, I'm just going to go ahead and get the print ready. I have some scrap acrylic here I'm going to use for the earrings. This is just clear acrylic, 3mm. Prints pretty well on the UV printer, so have that one all set up. I'm going to go ahead and move it onto my bed. So now we can move on to opening the image in Lightburn. So just go ahead and open up whatever image you use to print. You want to make sure that has the registration marks. That's very important to use this feature. So first things first, I'm going to go ahead and create an outline here. So I'm using Lightburn's built-in image trace, which works pretty well. And then I'm going to go ahead and do a 1mm outline around it. And once that's set, you can go ahead and delete the actual image trace, and that'll just leave that outline, the offset shapes. And so once that's in place, you can go ahead and select everything, then deselect the outline for the earrings. This is what I'm going to use as kind of like the border to cut out the image. You could also get rid of the registration mark outlines too. So all that should be left is just the outline around the design. The next thing I'm going to set up here is going to be the earring holes. This is what I'm going to use to place the hardware in for the earrings. So this one, I'm just going to go ahead and one by one add these in. I have the outline set to 3mm and the inside hole to 2. Once you have those merged and in place, you can go ahead and place those smaller holes inside, so that way the hardware for the earrings can slip right on through. So you'll see right here, just kind of drag them into place, make sure it's all centered, and then move on to the next ones. So this next part is pretty important for Lightburn's print and cut feature. You'll see right here you're not able to use it yet. So what we want to do is go ahead and grab your pen tool, and I'm just going to make a crosshair directly down the center of the top and the side. So once you have those in place, you'll see right there I'm just dragging it perfectly and centered. And then once you have those two lines in place, go ahead and select both of them. Once you have those selected, you're going to group them. This is what's going to tell Lightburn that this will be one of your registration marks. And once that's grouped, you can just duplicate that and drag it over to your next registration mark. So it's very important that you get it perfectly centered, because this is, kind of calibrating your machine of where it's going to start the cut. So it's got to be pretty precise, within like a fraction of a millimeter at least. But if you can, perfect is always nice. So now that you have those registration marks in place, we're going to go ahead and set our target outputs. So first, select your first registration mark. Once that's selected, you're going to move over to your machine, and you're going to jog the laser head until it's perfectly and centered with your image, right where that registration mark is. You want it nice and centered. So once you get it lined up perfect, you can go ahead and go back to Laser Tools, Print and Cut, and select or set your first target. So you'll see this little red circle pop up around it. So now your machine knows that that's where the first registration mark is. So we'll move on to our second one. You're going to select that second registration mark and then jog your head over to that, get it perfectly centered, and then repeat the process. What I like to do sometimes is with that laser pointer, I'll actually put my finger over it so I can see where that pulse comes down on, just to make sure that it's perfectly centered. Sometimes the laser, isn't exactly perfect, but so once you have that all set up, you'll select your second mark and then do the same process again, select the second output. Now you want to select your whole design as well as your registration marks, and then go ahead and align target outputs, and you'll see these green circles go ahead and pop up, and now your machine is ready to go. So it knows exactly where your image is using those registration marks, and it's all calibrated perfectly. So with those registration marks, they are on the cut layer. What I want to do is actually just change that to a different layer and then just turn the output off. I don't want it to cut that. And then I'm going to actually change my cut lines to a 1% power, just so I can test to see where the alignment is. And as you can see right there, it's pretty much cutting exactly where I want to. So it's a good way to do kind of a dry run and make sure it's going to work. And once that's good and it looks okay, you can move on to actually cutting it. So you see right here, it's following the same exact line as that dry run, and it seems to be aligned pretty perfect. So we'll just go ahead and pop these out and take a quick look at them. Looks like so far everything's pretty good, but we'll take a closer inspection here. and it looks great to me. So we'll go ahead and pop these out of the machine here and get them prepped for earrings. All right, so we'll move on to peeling off that protective film on the acrylic here. I just had it on the back side because I wanted to print on the front. And then we're gonna go ahead and pull out the hardware here and select which ones I want to use. I think brass looks really good for this specific image, so I'm gonna go with that one. All right, so now we can move on to installing the hardware. This is a time-consuming process for me. I don't do too many earrings here, but nevertheless, it wasn't too difficult. It just was time-consuming. So now that I got these all in place, this is the final product here. You can see the cut lines were perfect with the image, just a little bit of a border all the way around. And then yeah, this is a great way to use Lightburn's built-in print and cut feature. You can use it for numerous things, and it pairs well with your Omtech laser.